Every intro I've done to this sounds so, like, disingenuous. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today's video is a little different. I kind of wanted to go down the rabbit hole of writing. This channel's been mostly about visual art and a couple other things, but primarily my art journey. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about my relationship with writing, which I would say is probably goes hand in hand with the visual arts, but I would say writing might be my first love. I started writing and specifically, or my first memory of writing really was when I was about 4 or 5 years old. I had just moved from the Azores, which is a group of islands off the coast of Portugal, where my family's from and where I was born. I had just moved from there to the United States, and I was learning a new language and just getting accustomed to a whole new culture, and I think I picked it up fairly quickly, because I do remember having a journal by that time when I was about 5 that I would constantly draw in, constantly write in, and that's where that love for writing really kind of stemmed from. Before I even started the abstract painting journey, I was really primarily focusing on a writing career. That's what I studied in college. I studied English with a professional writing concentration, so writing's always been at the background of everything I did. But what I want to talk about today is journaling as a form of therapy, as a form of creative insight, and as a way to process your life, and how it's helped me as an artist, as a person, and how it's been probably the most consistent tool I've used in my own life, and what benefits I've reaped from that. This isn't even like a third of my journals, but I brought some of them so we can have a little bit of a discussion. So for those of you who do keep journals or have for a long time, or even just starting, I can probably imagine that you've started to see how it helps you process your emotions, especially if you're prone to depression and anxiety. Journaling was a way to process a lot of that stuff that I couldn't be vocal about. And when I look through all of these, I find that I'm able to be my candid self, which is so healing for someone who is very concerned with how they come across or how people see them. So journaling's always been a tool for me to be honest, for me to be courageous, and sort of, fearless in many ways. And when I read through a lot of these journals, there's two sides to it. One, I'm really happy that I recorded all of these honest, true depictions of life, all the embarrassing moments, all the cringeworthy moments, all of the stuff that I probably didn't want to remember, but it's in here. But then on the other hand, it sucks to know that that exists in the world, and if I ever disappear, there is proof of how cringe I was. I have the full description of the day I lost my virginity in vivid detail. But I'm so glad I do at the same time. And the more that I reread these and look through all of the different entries from high school up until now, it's so clear that there are some key themes that I've been processing with my mental health for so many years. And it's only been by recording this and revisiting it that I've been able to kind of zoom in on what the actual problems are. I think one of the sadder things about this experience of revisiting them is how many of the journal entries just are self-deprecating. There are so many entries where I just bullet point specific diets I need to be doing, specific weights I need to reach, how much I hate myself, essentially. When you start to see that that's a recurring theme that even still might pop up in your current entries, it's something that you need to focus on and give weight. And something that journaling has helped me do with my mental health is take those themes, bullet them out, take them out, and figure out, okay, why has this been coming up for so many years? And how can I work on it? How can I meditate on it? And maybe change the way that I talk about myself and reframe the language a little bit. Because as much as it is important to be authentic in your journals and in your writing, it's also important to think about how we speak about ourselves and how we use language every day. If you're constantly looking in the mirror and being like, oh God, I'm fat, I hate my love handles, I hate my nose, I hate this, that, and the other, and then you're also affirming it in writing all the time, it's not really a surprise that that's how you feel constantly as a person. And that was what was going on with me. I was thinking those things, writing them, and on this loop of just self-hatred. Whereas now, if I feel really badly about myself, I try not to put it onto paper too much. I'll allow myself to be honest with myself about those feelings and then kind of set them free. This journal in particular is really special to me. I started writing this one back in 2013 when I was in college. I'm like, what? How old am I? So many pivotal moments in my life were documented in this. Being able to revisit those highs can be so helpful on days when you're like,
oh my god, I haven't lived, like, I didn't do enough in, like, in my teen years, I didn't do enough in college.
It's like,
no.
That's just a habitual pattern of thinking that you have been doing forever. It's not the truth, and the proof is in the journal. You did a lot more than you give yourself credit for. For people who, tend to think the grass is always greener, it does help to write down the good things that happen in your life, just so you can revisit and be like, oh yeah, it's not all shit all the time. There's also a lot of bad stuff in here though. I'm all over the place. Journaling primarily has helped me process big mental health hurdles in my life, and it's through that process and the doodling that I would do in between and all of that sort of creative reflection that I developed a love for abstract art. Because there's so much poured into journaling about, your emotions, which can often feel abstract because you don't really have a hold on them, or life experiences that you're trying to make sense of, it just became a natural progression for me to start making art that felt similar to my consciousness, which is all over the place. And it started with doodles, which I would do all across the borders of my notebooks and classes and in my journals. And then I started to practice a little bit more with these different sort of drawings and illustrations that felt really uniquely my own, and unlike anything I was being told to do in my art classes, and felt very free-form and authentic to me and my fluid thoughts and my fluid emotions. And so through that journaling process, journaling actually kind of led the way into my passion for art and my passion for painting. It's also helped me process certain themes in my paintings, or figure out, what am I trying to do? What are my goals? What do I want people to get out of my work? And through journaling, I've been able to write about that same topic for so many years, to the point where it's starting to become more clear. And I have years of proof of that. Everything that I do creatively starts in a journal as a blank page and then develops into something over time. I was thinking about it, I was journaling about it recently, and I think what it has been teaching me, and what I wrote, is it's helping me find a way to be honest and abstract with the human life story, so that all of the sadness and humor of the collective human experience makes more sense. It feels less like a burden and more like an abstract painting. And what I mean by that is abstract paintings are it's a combination of all these different individual elements that might not make any sense together. Different textures, different colors, different approaches to applying the paint that on the surface, when you first start, don't really work as a cohesive whole. Then by the end, every element somehow enmeshes and creates something beautiful, something you want to look at, whether it's depicting heavy and dark emotions or light and happy emotions. You still want to look at it. It still draws the eye. It still gives you this gut feeling. It makes the viewer feel something, maybe from their own life, maybe emotions that they need to process. And so I think I'm gonna end this rant because I don't know how I'm gonna piece all this together. Hopefully it makes any coherent sense. I guess this is my love letter to journaling, because it's been truly one of the most consistent relationships in my life. And yeah, I'm gonna end it with something I wrote. Life is a random, abstract assortment of contrasts and elements, and the more we play, laugh, experiment, and interact with the chaotic beauty of it all, the better. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you'd like for more content from me. And yeah, if you're a fellow journaler, writer, whatever, please say hi in the comments. I'm so looking forward to forming a community on here and meeting other like-minded people. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.